Hola, crumb bums. Welcome back. It is Sunday, September 13th. Bears win against all odds. They tried to beat themselves and they just couldn't do it. It's weird to be doing this on a football Sunday, Ryan.
Yeah, I know.
What are we doing?
Tom Brady is playing as a buck right now.
And his first touchdown was a rushing touchdown.
2020. Isn't he 47 years old?
I think he's 45.
No, he's 40 something. He's old enough that when he did that, even after scoring, you'd have to think that like there are members of that coaching staff like, don't ever do that again.
Please don't do that.
Don't do that.
We paid you $15 million. Just don't do that.
Yeah, even though your entire diet consists of like sucking on kale leaves and
Tom Brady, exactly how we wanted to start this special episode of Crumbs.
Well, it's a metaphor for the music business, right, Brian?
Sure is. Yeah, dinosaurs still just hogging all the carries across the goal line.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, there we go. Speaking of how messed up the music business is, this is going to be a pretty short episode of Crumbs because Ryan and I really just wanted to talk about what we've been thinking about how we can use Crumbs to be a force for good and also just better and more professional and less dependent on a Sunday 4 p.m. Central Time time slot
on Facebook.
I got distracted because apparently the Cubs threw a no-hitter today. Got an update on my phone. Big day for Chicago sports. Back to the lecture at hand. Recently, both of us, I mean, not just recently, but in general, both of us have been feeling pretty bleh about Facebook. It's a pretty evil company. I think most people would agree. And there's just been a lot coming out about how they use data and how they use that to shape the way people do things. And we were both just kind of like, I don't want to give Facebook free content anymore. And the final straw for us, I think, was they recently came out with some new terms with regard to music. I'm going to read straight from the terms page here. The new rule is you may not use videos on our products to create a music listening experience. We want you to be able to enjoy videos posted by family and friends. However, if you use videos on our products to create a music listening experience for yourself or others, your videos will be blocked and your page, profile, or group may be deleted. This includes live. So this is clearly a direct attack on the thousands of musicians who have no income right now and have been just piecing together live streams with donation-based income, Well, and I've done a couple of them. You make some money. For some people, I think it's probably better than touring, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money to the multi-billion-dollar company that is Facebook. And it's just this rinky-dink dime. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Well, let's be clear. That statement means Facebook is coming down harder on musicians than on Nazis or, like political ads that are just lying to people or, I don't know, Russian bots. They are coming down harder on some dude playing Wonderwall in his like basement than on Nazis.
Right. And it's unclear where the pressure for this comes from. Your point stands either way. It might be that ASCAP and BMI and CSAC and whatever that new one is that's weird but still wants to be paid as much money are pressuring Facebook to pay licensing fees for playing songs. Now, a common misconception about licensing fees is people think, well, just play original music and you get around it. Well, if your songs are licensed, then you are playing licensed songs by that PRO, and the venue, no matter where it is, still has to pay the royalties. And this goes for, I mean, a lot of people don't know this either. Every venue in the country, whether you have original music or not, has to pay an annual or per show fee to have the live music there. And it is thousands of dollars a year. And they charge it no matter how small your venue is or how big it is. It's based on capacity. But for a small venue, I'm thinking, for example, like the Trumpet Blossom here in Iowa City is an 85 cap room. And they will have to shell out between $2,000 and $3,000 a year to have live music. Now, I don't know that the Trumpet Blossom makes $2,000 to $3,000 a year on ticket sales in profit, so it's really hard for venues to survive, small venues that are like the lifeblood of the music industry to survive, especially since the artists who are playing there are not getting big checks from ASCAP and BMI, especially based on their touring. So whether it's Facebook just being dicks or the PROs being dicks, some action has been taken
Musicians
to take away.
get screwed again, either way.
Yet another revenue stream is coming off the books for musicians.
Yeah, I think that PRO thing is. I mean, you and I could do a whole episode on that. Did my sound just get really weird?
It for a second, but it's good now.
I think we could do. We have a friend. Just an example of what these companies have done, and there are some definite positive things they've done. I mean, I'm on BMI. I've had some good experiences, but I've also played a friend's backyard house show where BMI like agents were showing up. This guy, you remember that when Casey? So our friend was doing house shows every Sunday in Minnesota, in rural Minnesota, and people were coming by. It was a donation-based show. He was not selling tickets. But it got big. A lot of people were coming. A lot of our friends played. It was an event that happened like every Sunday in the summer.
And then a couple songwriter festivals he did too. Yeah.
Yeah, and the PROs got word of it. Some, they have eyes and ears all over the place, but we're trying to shake him down at one point, which is just insane because the guy didn't make any money.
The guy loses money.
He loses
on every show, and the artists get paid well. And so, so the people who were supposedly, and he had to shut down for a while, right? Like he got spooked and he didn't want to do it for a while.
Yeah. And I don't remember if that's I don't remember exactly the chain of events that happened there, but I remember him talking about it and it being nuts, and I've heard the story from a lot of venues that have gotten shaken down. So I can imagine they went to Facebook with, I have no idea what happened, but I'd imagine that the number would be substantial for all the stuff that was going on. But it's just insane the way that Facebook treats artists who use who put so much content on that site is kind of crazy. And I've had problems with it long before this. I mean, I think you and I have talked about this. If anybody who's in a band out there who has a band page, we all know what a nightmare that is. It is a nightmare. And I've gone through periods of using it and not using it because who knows who's seeing stuff. They try to force you to buy advertising that hasn't been proven to do anything.
Not at the level that we can afford.
Right.
Which
exactly.
is what, $5-10 a show, maybe.
And then there are expectations, for touring bands that that venues want to see you advertising your show, or venues are advertising shows on Facebook and putting money into it. And it's hard to say that that results in people actually coming to the show. You know, it
Yeah.
might result in people clicking attend or something, but does it actually sell tickets? Um, you know, I'm off on a bit of a tangent, but there are things to be said about social media that are obviously positive for bands, connecting with fans, yada yada yada. I think we all can understand that, but there is a very murky, gray area that I think's extremely problematic
And
and
exploitative. Yeah.
exploitative, and I think it's really hurt creative culture.
Yeah. Well, it's made it so, social media is so important to a musician's career that you see sometimes musicians just creating content that's going to work in the algorithm to bump up, bump up, bump up. And every time you do that, you kind of take a little bit of soul out of what you do, and you're not staying true to the art, if you will. Um, and so in thinking about this, um, well, I guess another problem with that is we talked earlier today, and we've talked in the past about just quitting social media, just saying I'm off it, I'm done. But in today's world, especially with the pandemic, you can't just quit. You just can't quit. How else are you going to connect with people? I don't even know how to promote a show, especially an out of town show these days, without inviting the 5 people I know in that town to come to the show on Facebook. I've neglected an email list for years. I think I'm going to start trying to build that up, and maybe that can help. But you're stuck. You have to be a part of it if you are selling your music, if you're trying to do anything. And venues won't book you if you don't have a Facebook or an Instagram or a Twitter or whatever. And so in trying to find a happy medium, I guess, we have decided that we are going to take this show off of Facebook, at least live. We're not going to go live on Facebook anymore. We're not going to give them the free content that engages sometimes tens of people on the site. And rather than do that, we're going to record video and audio separately. We're hoping to keep the release schedule still every Sunday, but we're going to just record it separately, and that way we can kind of edit it, maybe, if we figure out how to do that. And the second part of it is we're going to create a website, which is not up yet, but I'm working on it. And the website will have all of the podcasts, all the videos, all the Spotify, all of that stuff. And it's also going to have some more of our thoughts, Ryan. We're going to have a blog that we hope can be a bit more of a utility for people interested in the music business and trying to figure out how to navigate it.
Yeah, so this is more than just like a screw Facebook. I think that there's, we started this thing in the pandemic to catch up and see what was going on and talk to people in music and see how everybody was doing, see what information was out there. And I think it's kind of grown into something that, like, we've had some really amazing conversations with people on a lot of different levels, sometimes talking about best practices to book shows, or we had a great talk with Liz Moen about mental health in playing music. There's a lot of stuff that we touch on that I think we kind of want to expand upon on the website and have guests maybe write articles about things, kind of have use it as a community building.
Yeah.
But I want to say too that, like, as this started, I really enjoyed having this platform, like doing this live thing. And I think it has been really attached to situation that we're in. And as it's grown, it just makes more sense for us to kind of free up what we're able to do too, because I think we can get more interesting guests if we're not locked into having to record them at 4 o'clock on a Sunday.
Yeah.
There's some benefits to that. Being able to make it more of a podcast, and then all the things that we kind of want from Facebook. Brian and I were talking about this on the phone the other day. Like, I think I made a lot of mistakes as a musician for a long time. And the most helpful thing was just being able to talk to people who could give me advice or answer questions, or from the business side of things to, like, I had a friend call me last week to ask me about a streaming deal that he didn't think was great, and it wasn't. But that conversation, we had a great talk about it, and that turned into a great conversation about kind of like what streaming shows should look like. So I think we kind of want to use Crumbs for stuff like that.
Yeah. To kind of give people who are facing decisions that they're making in the music business a place that they can go to and maybe find out the mistakes that other people have made and how they learn from them. I mean, we've both been doing this for a long time, a relatively long time, given our ages. We're not like 70 and been doing this for 50 years, but every time you do something, you learn from it. And I don't think that it's necessary for somebody to get into their mid 30s before they understand how touring works, or how agencies work, or how, the best way to book a show, or what to do if you're stuck on a song, or, this kind of stuff. And so we want to write about that. We want to hopefully give people some advice that is useful, that we've learned and that we've learned from other people. And we want to invite the rest of the music community to jump in and write some posts for it, and hopefully help some people out who are getting started. Or if you're in a rut, if you're, late 40s and in a rut and trying to make a change from one place to another, hopefully we can have some stuff in there that's good information. So that's kind of the goal. We want it to be more of a utility based thing, and also to let people know, which was kind of the goal of this all along, that you're not alone. You're not, and you can talk about these things. That's something else we talked about. You mentioned Joe Pug's Working Songwriter podcast. He talked with Johnny Fritz, and how Johnny Fritz was saying it's never cool to talk about money. It's only cool to be cool and to talk about. And in Nashville, I saw this all the time, where people were just projecting success all the time. It makes you feel like you're crazy, or like you're failing, because all these other people are doing so well, quote unquote. And you can't figure out how to get a show in Texas, when in reality, almost nobody's doing very well.
Well, and I think even in this time, right? Like, so, nobody's touring right now, but it would be great to have a place or a resource where people can kind of exchange ideas that isn't fucking Facebook, but that we can put sorry, that we can exchange, I think Erin talked a little bit about, how what's worked for her and her clients as far as streaming's gone, and how to monetize streams well for them. So we want to be able to put blog posts up and stuff about that either, it might come from us or come from people who are doing it and doing it well, and kind of build up something that, answers questions that are uncomfortable. Nobody likes to say they don't know how to do something.
Right.
And in music, it's always, it people feel scummy talking about the money side of things, or how it works, or, people don't want to talk about that struggle. And we want to kind of create a place to do that.
Right. And there's a lot to learn too. Musicians have to know how to do everything, because they don't have any money to pay other people to do it a lot of times. For example, I am right now trying to figure out how to make a website that looks the way I want it to look and that will work for what we want to do. And it's difficult. And it's yet another thing that I have to learn how to do along with recording a podcast and all of this stuff. I think any musician knows that it's just a constant, oh, now I got to learn how to make a video. Now I got to learn how to record demos at home. Now I got to learn, hopefully we can help with some of that too.
That's the goal. We're figuring it out.
We're figuring it out. So I think there will probably be a little bit of a lag between now and when it comes out. We will make sure to let you know on Facebook and on Instagram, which is also Facebook. And we should probably start tweeting from the Twitter account that I created and literally have not made a single post on.
Why do we only follow Donald Trump?
For the rage, man. It's just to get fired up before the show. So yeah, we're going to work on that, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks it'll be up. But I do want to go ahead.
I would add to that, if anybody out there who watches this or listens has topics that you would like to see covered on or ideas for a site, send it our way.
Yeah. You can do that on Facebook or on Instagram or Twitter, or you can send us an email at crumbstheshow@gmail.com. Yeah, it's been fun to do these live though. It's always fun to get comments and to interact with people. I'll miss that portion of it. And I do want to say thank you so much to the people who have watched this. It's been truly something that's kept me and Ryan sane over the last 6 months, to make us feel like we are not alone. So that's cool.
And hey, we might have special live Crumb events. Who knows? The
world's our oyster.
The world's our oyster. But, I think yelling, while it has been a huge help, yelling on Facebook at 4:00 every Sunday has been very cathartic. I think that this is just like the next step that we want to take. We want to kind of bump it
up the ante a little bit.
It's only going to get better. And then we were talking about this too, just to let all you people know. I think we want to kind of expand what the podcast talks about too. So we're talking about getting some different kinds of guests on here, talking about things that aren't just deep music business, but like fun things around music. So
yeah,
there's a lot. The wheels are they're turning.
They're rolling. They're not just turning. We're on a hill. Yeah, we can't stop this train.
We're like a 57-year-old Tom Brady eating just broccoli and
just barreling across the end zone.
Barreling through.
Yeah. So I think that I only say this because on Anchor I have to distinguish what season we're in. Is this the end of season 1, Ryan?
That's awesome. Yeah.
This is the ultimate episode of season 1. And
it's a cliffhanger, folks.
And it is. It is. And the show may get canceled before we can close up this storyline. But we're very grateful. 13 episodes of Crumbs. Thanks, everybody. It's awesome.
Enjoy your Sunday.
Yeah. And our next guest will be Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh.
It won't be, but maybe. I'll DM him. Be like, man, you want to talk music biz? Let's do it.
You want to write a blog, Mitch?
You want to write a blog about what it feels like to be constantly judged on your performance on a global stage? Okay.
See, now we're taught the wheels they're spinning.
They're going. Okay. Thank you, Crumbs. Season 1 is a wrap. We'll catch you next time.